Well, two Bloomberg economic surveys, they are out this morning, and they are sending some mixed signals. On the one hand, confidence in the world economy rising for a third straight month. Meantime, you've got unemployment seen rising above 10%. So, are the green shoots real or not? Economist Gary Shilling correctly predicted the current downturn. He is president of Gary Shilling and Company, and he joins us right now. Welcome back. Good morning.
Good to be with you again, Carol.
So I read your research report, all 30-something pages of it. So you don't buy the green shoots theory?
I really don't. It's very normal to have at least one up quarter in real GDP in the midst of a recession. We've had 11 recessions since World War II, including the current one. 8 of those have had at least one up quarter in real GDP. And normally you get a bear market rally accompanying it. In other words, recessions aren't a matter you start at the top, you go straight to the bottom, and that's it. So
all of this is playing out as we've seen in the past.
Exactly. Exactly. And, yeah, it could be the bottom. Nobody rings the bell. But the odds are that it's in effect, it's just simply a uptick in the middle of the recession. We think it's probably going to last another year.
Another year. What about, though, some of the positives out there, Gary? You know what I'm going to throw at you. Commodities have rallied a bunch. Oil's up, when you speak about the commodities. A lot of rates of, LIBOR has come down substantially. We have seen some good economic data points. And even that jobs report, which was still terrible, wasn't as bad as expected when you looked at that non-farm payrolls. So doesn't that mean that, well, that bottom is near?
Well, it may be. But, again, these are very typical. If you look at these 8 of the 11 post-war recessions, you've seen very similar kinds of things.
Textbook here.
Yeah, it really is. But the fundamental reason that I think the recession's got to run until early next year are really 3 things that I think need to get corrected yet. One is house inventories. We got about 2 million extra inventories of houses, result of the big building boom earlier, and that compares with an annual build of about 1.5 million. In other words, it's a huge excess inventory.
Right.
Needs to be worked down, and in the meanwhile, it puts downward pressure on prices, which mean more people are underwater on mortgages, more mortgage problems, and so on. The second problem is the vicious circle of people retrenching. Consumers are retrenching. That means they spend less. That means less production. Yeah, I mean, they're on a saving spree. In April, they got a big tax cut because of the fiscal program. They saved 108% of it. They saved more than their increase in after-tax income.
Okay.
And you got to break that vicious circle. It probably takes a lot more fiscal stimulus. And third, you still have a lot of financial problems in commercial real estate and credit cards and so on and so forth to work through. Hey, they've proved that a trillion here, a trillion there. They figured out how to clear up financial problems, but there's a lot to go yet.
Paul Krugman said the "oh my God, the world is ending" phase is over.
Yes, I agree with that. This recession started in the financial area early in 2007 with a collapse in what we call the subprime slime.
Right.
And then it spread to Wall Street. Those were financial. The goods and services part of it only started last September with consumer retrenchment and then the globalization. But the financial part, I think, has stabilized. It's the consumer. The consumer is where to watch. That's what's going to make or break the rest of this recession is retrenchment by U.S. consumers.
And the consumer's in a tough spot still.
Consumer's a very tough spot and saving like crazy. And, of course, when the consumer saves and doesn't spend, that's tough on the rest of the world because the consumer cuts back 1% in spending. Our imports, the rest of the world's exports, go down 2.8%. Almost 3 to 1.
I mean, the U.S. consumer is what really kind of fuels everything around the globe.
Oh, sure,
we can't forget
that's what accounted for growth earlier and now retrenchment.
I got 20 seconds left. So since this is reading like textbook, so another year of the recession, and then what? What kind of recovery? Just quickly.
I think a rather slow recovery. Consumers are retrenching. You're getting deleveraging the financial sector. You no longer have strong commodity prices. You've got government involvement in the economy, which slows it, and you have protectionism, unfortunately, growing.
And you think we might even get more stimulus, just quickly?
Oh, yeah. I think they'll be back with another stimulus bill. They haven't got much choice on that, if my forecast is correct.
Okay. Going to leave it there. Gary, as always, great to have you here. Gary Shilling, everybody.